Welcome to Notes from the Green Room, where we visit with creative musicians working in the ambient, neoclassical, new age, and electroacoustic space. Now here's our host, Coren.
Hello. I'm happy to have a return visit to the Green Room from musician, composer, healer, Michelle Qureshi. Since we spoke in the Green Room 2 years ago, Michelle has moved her studio and home from Indiana to Texas. As an award-winning, classically trained guitarist and a creator of multi-instrument performance events, she's poised to become an active member of Austin's acclaimed music community. Her masterful compositions, her focus on new age, ambient, and world music genres, and her efforts to help listeners use music performances and recordings to promote wellness and healing have brought her international acclaim as an artist and proponent of music therapy. Michelle attracts audiences in many locales to her Harmonic Sound Immersion healing meditations and is currently preparing scores for wellness retreats that will make good use of her mastery of the guitar and ancient and ethnic instruments. Welcome to the Green Room from your new Creekside home in Austin, Michelle.
Hello, Carol. Thanks so much, and great to talk with you again.
Wonderful indeed. Before we talk about some of your recent recordings and your new album, Journey by Starlight, I want to provide our listeners with a short example of your mastery and your advancement of music as metaphor. Here's a short selection from Grounding 174 Hertz. That was lovely, and a splendid example of the skills for which you've earned acclaim. Brief as it was, it illustrates the journey that's taken you from bachelor and master level studies at the Cleveland Institute of Music to making music that draws on your involvement in yoga, instruction, meditation, and certification as a Reiki therapist. Much of the work you're doing in the realm of new age and ambient music today is linked to your belief in the power that music has to heal. What have you observed happens in the sound healing retreats and experiences that use your recordings and live performances?
Yes, well, thanks first of all for the excerpt from Grounding 174 Hertz, which is the beginning of this project that really does look at intention and attention behind frequency-based type of music and healing. And to the question of what I've observed, well, it's as varied as the people who attend these events. And I like the extreme range on both ends. There's the heavy meditators who come in and literally astral trips happen. They leave their bodies, they visit other planets, and it's really, really amazing. I hear the stories afterwards. But just as amazing to me as someone who's never experienced it before and has profound things happen, physical sensation, changes in the body, all these things that sound is capable of doing because, of course, our body automatically responds to sound. We have all these waves of things moving through us just as we are so full of these examples of connecting in a way that is so totally unique to sound. We're just kind of learning so much about it, and I'm just having a great time kind of working in the field and creating these containers in these events that just hold space for people to experience such a wide range of things.
So you see your music as holding space for listeners. In some respects, that's in itself a very beautiful metaphor. You've characterized the performance events that you create as harmonic sound immersions. What do you draw upon when you create these? And what is your aim for listeners to do when they go to that space that you hold them in respect to finding promotion tools for wellness?
Right. Yeah. Well, what I draw upon is from within myself and connecting to something higher than myself. And I really just feel like a vehicle for the sound that intuitively travels through me. So in that case, It's a unique thing for me each time, and it's a unique experience for each person.
In some respects, your comment is similar to that of others who have joined me in the green room, who almost describe a channeling experience when they open themselves to allow music to enter them and for them to then pass it on to others. Is that something that you feel you yourself experience in your studio and when a music idea presents itself?
It really is. I mean, there's many theories on creativity and where it comes from and what part ownership do we claim. And in my experience, I feel like we prepare ourselves through our own hard work and learning and like intellectual understanding and bring in that sense of intuition that allows you to be somewhat of an antenna to bring in these ideas that are, I think, somewhat universal, waiting to be tapped into. There's many, many theories on where that comes from, but I think to a lot of degrees, it's a very shared and open experience for everybody. And I'm just kind of grateful that I can tap into it.
Well, you certainly tapped into it with your new album, Journey by Starlight. It is wonderful to listen to, and it's evident that it provides an array of compositions that can be used in a variety of ways by listeners, particularly those that are, as you indicate, looking for a space in which to hold themselves apart. Let's hear an excerpt from one selection included in that album, Across the Veil. I'm hoping that others, like me, respond to the healing charm of compositions like this one. How can people purchase this and other selections in Journey by Starlight, as well as pieces like The Grounding we heard at the start of the show from you? How can they access these wonderful, wonderful compositions you create?
Well, thank you so much for playing that excerpt of Across the Veil. And that, as well as all of my catalog, is available at my music shop on my website for people who are interested in downloading the music. And it's also available on my Bandcamp page. And we have to say that most of the world streams music these days. So you can also find me on all the major streaming platforms and listen and support me in that way. As far as the excerpt from Grounding 174, Healing in the Harmonic Field, is that project's title, and that is the 9-track album that is a project based exclusively on solfeggio tones embedded in this beautiful and expansive music. That is kind of geared toward therapists and holistic practitioners, and it's kind of being set out to create space for people while they're doing the Reiki or while they're offering massage, while they're holding yoga or retreat sessions. So that's kind of a little different of a direction for me, but that is also available at my website, and you can hear excerpts of all 9 tracks, and you can also download for free my chakra alignment piece on there as well.
To repeat, people can hear your work online on music streaming platforms such as New Age Note Stream Radio and through your website, michellequreshi.com. Am I right in understanding that you post information about upcoming performance events and music healing events on that website as well?
Yes, I do keep an events page. Right now, you will see I am going to be part of a retreat at the Himalayan Institute right in Pennsylvania. And you'll see space for more things to be added because, as you mentioned, I just got to Austin. And I will be slowly adding to local events and more global retreats as I get settled here. But yes, that is correct.
Texas is a big state, and I'm sure there'll be a variety of venues that will be open and welcoming to you. By the way, what attracted you to New Age, ambient, and world music genres? How is it that you, as a classical guitarist, turned your attention to these genres?
I think the playing that I started just finding myself doing really kind of just fit this genre so well before I even really thought about it. I mean, I was trained as a classical guitarist, and then I didn't play for really a couple decades. And when I returned to music and with the time and the space to do so, it was a time when we could create our own small home studios. And I've kind of built mine up over more than a decade, found myself bringing live music to yoga studios to kind of accompany that mindset. You know, I like the pin drop silence of playing and breathing with the music and having it kind of support the postures and whatnot in a yoga class. And then I developed the sound immersion to be its own, basically, horizontal concert that would expand on all of these experiences. I'm drawn to it because I really just kind of love to live in peace and joyful quiet, if I can call it that. I love classical music as well, but it's a different symmetry for sure. And I listen to both of those a lot. And I grew up on all kinds of music. So I feel exposed to everything: world music, pop music, rock music, just a product of my time. And I always feel that you're influenced by everything you hear. Sometimes it's what you don't want to hear again, but a lot of times it's just great, beautiful experiences.
Well, I just want to point out that yours is music that people do want to hear over and over again. It has purpose, and it does, as you say, create places that hold them. You'd mentioned that there was a family connection in respect to Journey by Starlight in regard to the cover and the art that you had created for the album. If I'm right, a cousin's husband, who was an astrophysicist or an astronomer, had something to do with the illustrations that you think represent what it is you're trying to convey in that album?
Yes, you're absolutely right. The album cover for Journey by Starlight and for the 3 singles, Starfield, Across the Veil, and River in Heaven, are all based on true astrophotography that was taken by my family member, who is a physicist and very interested in astronomy, and has taken these just in his backyard, composites over weeks and weeks to be shot and compiled. And when I saw these photos, I really felt a connection to what I was kind of seeing in my visual eye for making a lot of the music on Journey by Starlight. I feel I'm a starseed and I connect so much with, the galactic space out there. And I feel this music did as well. I really think they go together. And it was a special thing to step aside from many of the AI covers out there in the world, or to really have another artist's work out there.
Let's hear then a selection from that new album, Journey by Starlight. Can you provide a little bit of background on the piece? As I understand it, we're going to be hearing Antares.
Thank you so much, Carol. Antares has a hypnotic vibe at its core. Named after the red supergiant star, this track pulses with a contained power, subtle harmonic shifts, and choral textures, creating a hypnotic field that draws the listener inward as the music unfolds with a patient intensity. From a galactic perspective, it is the Mantis people who are frequently associated with the Antares Stargate, which I feel came through in this piece.
So then let's hear from Journey by Starlight, the piece Antares by Michelle Qureshi. That was a splendid illustration of how your music can promote a sense of wellness, meditation, and, as you've said earlier, a holding space for those who are open to listening. Where does the inspiration come to you for pieces like this, and what do you have in mind for some of the work that you are hoping to create now that you have established yourself as a Texas resident in Austin?
Well, I think I need a little more time to feel established here, but I do see myself focusing more specifically on music that holds this kind of attention and intention toward healing. I've always known when my fingers touch the fingerboard and touch the guitar strings, or I start to play one of the Native American flutes, I know there's lots of healing qualities in that. A lot is communicated heart to heart. Now I think even being more specific in the direction of it, embedding these tones, doing something in 432 hertz or 528 hertz, and massaging these frequency tones and doing some beautiful music around that is part of what I'm really going to be focusing on down here. So I guess you could say deeper addressing to the wellness and what I can offer at retreats and moving forward with that direction. I mean, guitar will always be part of the heart of my sound, but I'm always evolving. My ideal thing would be to start creating my own instruments and just no limits on that kind of creativity.
Well, with 3D printing, it's certainly possible. I know that as we prepared for this, you were showing me a piece from Australia that was in fact 3D printed. It was amazing.
Yes, it was actually printed as a didgeridoo, and it actually works. I have it here in my studio, and it does have an impact. It's fascinating. I've done several different flutes as well, and it's very interesting. We have a lot. I would obviously really love to work with different metals and continue like the work I did when I had some singing bowls custom made, but I'd like to get those things in my own hands too.
Grand. Well, listeners can learn more about you, Michelle Qureshi, at your website, michellequreshi.com, and get in touch with some of the opportunities that are there for them to purchase some of your recordings or to perhaps arrange to attend one of your healing events. I thank you so much for coming to the Green Room and telling us about your new location, your new work, and your new intentions. Good luck to you in Austin, Texas, and I hope that the city responds as I think it should to the wonder that you are and what you offer. Until next time, keep going on with the work and the music that is very clearly divinely inspired, with the certainty that from this listener has great opportunities for healing.
Thank you so much, Carol. I love spending time with you and talking with you, and this was very generous. Thanks so much.
My pleasure.
Notes from the Green Room is a production of Music Matters International. It is written and produced by our host, Carol Coren, with help from technical advisor and editor Vince Holtz. Shows are recorded at Hot Sound Studios in Tucson, Arizona. Theme music is by Louis Anthony DeLise. Be in touch. You can email us at info@notesfromthegreenroom.com. I'm John Weber. Thanks for listening.